how you gather information and sort of ascertain, what's the real fiscal impact of that elimination. Because as it currently exists, we know that it serves a need of the community and the downtown business community as well. So I think that's something we got to be careful about as we look at that.
And our recommendation was really just to have, just as Brian, Jessica alluded to, was just understanding, the public understands more about what the fair actually pays for, and understand more open public communication, as TriMet is already doing, that it makes it a little bit easier to swallow that pill, so to speak.
Yeah.
Sure. And I also think, Brian mentioned that it's true, we don't know how much of a revenue maker eliminating Fairless Square might be, but it's not just that, it's the equity issues involved. If we're cutting buses that bring low-income people to work, it seems only just, perhaps, to also get rid of the fairless aspect of the downtown core. It's also an equity issue.
All should suffer.
I have one other question for you.
I think the TriMet's done a pretty. I remember the Fairless Square debate and the discussion initially outlined just a couple of options, like a $40 or $1 fare or something like that. And I think now that we're looking at a whole host of possibilities, it's a much easier discussion to have, and to supplement it with, like Bob's suggestion of, there's people that have in their whole lives around their proximity to transit service and that sort of thing. And I kind of like the idea of some acknowledgement of their use of the system if they're dislocated by the implementation of fare for, say, buses. And I guess I could go on. But I also think it's an equity issue for us in Washington County. I represent Washington County's residents where we pay a fare anytime we use the system. And I think there is a real sense that, we can't avail ourselves of that.
Right.
Yeah. Would you accept it?
Well, I wouldn't write it for free.
I tried. But I did have one other question. That was, did you look at a cost for parking? Many people on the edges, and I live in Clackamas County, so I know that when I want to go to a Blazer game, I'm not going to fight the traffic. I'm going to Gateway Park free and take Max to the game. So, did you guys look at anything regarding parking? If someone has to pay $2 versus $11.50, $12 to park downtown, how would that affect them taking Max and anything of this nature?
We didn't really go into that kind of detail.
Okay.
But of course, it stands to reason that the difference between the two, the people would still, if they were planning on going downtown and they were thinking of cost savings and the hassle of parking, etc. The difference between paying $2 or riding for free is logically somewhat insignificant.
Right.
So.
Okay.
I believe, though, that type of thinking is one of the reasons that some of the committee members were interested in the rail-only option, because it exposes folks who would otherwise drive to the whole transit experience, and it's easier to control in the bus environment, fare enforcement, than it is on the trains. And so the extension of the Green Line and the north-south, as well as the east-west connections on the rail in the central core area, it seemed like there was an opportunity to retain that invitation, if you will, to try it, and perhaps generate future riders in the process. Okay. I will be speaking about our perspectives on the employee benefits, most specifically the employee health benefits. I did retire from this business, but given the complexity of the challenges ahead, we agreed as a committee that I would be the one to try to articulate our feelings about this. what I'd like to say really is a call to action, and it's a call for change. But I'd like to start with a story which some of you may have seen in the Oregonian. It was published back in February 15th. A group of AFSCME Local 88 members filed into a special meeting that had been called, and the union vice president mentioned that they were going to begin with a contest of sorts. Everyone should count off to 10, and those with numbers 3 and 8 should stand up. Saw that. About 24 people popped up, wondering what they'd won. And the prize, as was announced, was that these are the people who are going out the door if we don't do something. Multnomah County government could lose a greater percentage of its workforce this year than it has in the past 8 years. And rather than wait for the inevitable, the county's largest union made this unprecedented move. This was not an open contract situation, but it went ahead and asked its members what they would give up in order to save jobs. They polled the membership. They had a 30% response rate, which is the greatest response that they've ever had to a poll. And they kind of rolled up their sleeves and were able to come forward with some alternatives. They weren't real comfortable about it. They're not sure that union membership is going to support these things. But it's clearly a demonstration of one of TriMet's values, which is to solve problems creatively. So that's the approach that we took in looking at the employee benefits situation that TriMet is facing. Based on what we heard, we concluded that the current active and retiree health benefits are unsustainable, irrespective of the current economic crisis. This was particularly illuminated by the recent accounting rules that shed light on what the future liability of the retiree medical piece is. The impact on the bottom line was presented in the agency's budget, and clearly illustrates that it worsens the longer it remains unaddressed. Health benefit costs are trending 12% annually, and they have for TriMet for the last 10 years. On the retiree side, it's more like 18%. The result is, if you look forward, by the year 2030, 35% of the operating budget will go toward health care costs. It doesn't include wages, doesn't include gas or anything else. And clearly, that number really got our attention. Looking further into some of the transit industry data that was presented, we see that TriMet's monthly family health care premium is the highest reported in the U.S. This is a time, an opportune time, to try to change the course of this. The contract with the union will be open this fall, and the economic situation has basically everybody on alert that we may be facing some tough decisions ahead. We urge TriMet to explore the many ways to solve this problem creatively that we believe exist, and we have some examples to share with you that are drawn from the information that was presented to us from industry surveys and other comparisons. Adjusting benefit levels is often a strategy that's used. TriMet's benefits appear to be generous, quite generous by current standards, and we believe they really aren't essential for attracting and retaining a quality workforce. They're a little bit excessive in order to meet those objectives. We also believe that they may be out of sync with contemporary benefit and compensation strategies. When we looked at the compensation side, TriMet is comfortably in the 25th percentile. So the compensation side is represented well, and it's not as if they need to have unusually rich benefits to compensate for concessions that may have been made on the wage side. Sharing health benefit costs between the agency and retirees is as well as active employees is another strategy.